Okay, in this tape we're going to talk about knife fighting. We teach the SEAL team guys how to fight with the knife so that they're effective combatants with the knife, and they can also defend against the knife. Okay, in order to defend against the knife, you have to be a knife fighter yourself in order to understand what that knife fighter is going to do with the knife. Okay, in many of our combat situations, the knife is going to be called upon. If all goes bad and we lose our weapons, we always have our knife with us on what we call our first line gear, or our gear that's attached to our body, that's going to be on our belt and with us at all time. So the knife is an inherent part of our training. We get our knife fighting skills from the Filipino martial arts, as taught to me from Guru Dan Inosanto. So I think you're going to find these are effective skills for self-defense situations, especially in our day and time. You're going to find that on the street, some implement is going to come out, whether it be the knife or the stick or club or some kind of striking implement. So pay attention to this tape, and I think you'll learn something from it and definitely enhance your self-defense skills. Okay, the first thing we're going to discuss with the knife is angles of attack. Okay, it really doesn't matter if you hold a knife like this or you hold a knife like this. Usually in a knife-to-knife situation, in the long range, you're going to have a little bit of an advantage with a knife in this grip here. You're going to have the element of distancing on your side. This way is okay too. This will, as we move on in the tape, you'll see how this will give you an advantage for some things, whereas this will give you an advantage for others. But the art should be cultivated in both grips. Okay, so the basic angles of attack, the first one is based off the figure eight pattern. So this is what we call downward figure eight, which could slash down diagonal here and then backhand diagonal here, forming the figure eight here. Slashing, 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 slashing. Okay, if the figure eight can go downward, it can also go upward. Slashing up, slashing up, slashing up this way. 1, 2, 1, 2. So you notice the figure eight pattern here. Okay, if I can go down, I can go up, I can go horizontal. Slashing midsection, or slashing high horizontally, or low horizontally. Slash, slash, slash. Curve, slash, the figure eight. Even though it's a flat figure eight, what we call horizontal figure eight. You'll notice that my rear hand is here at the ready, what we call the checking hand is here at the ready, because this distance can close it at a split second, and this hand is going to become a very essential part of defending against his knife attack, or setting you up for your own knife attack. Okay, we have downward, we have upward, we have horizontal, and now we have the diagonal figure eight pattern. Slashing downward and slashing back up. Downward, slashing back up. Downward, slashing back up. And you see the figure eight pattern, because if you had just a single edged blade, you have to turn your wrist, slashing back up, turn your wrist, slashing back down. 1, 2. And then you have the diagonal the other way, slashing from the left side of the body, upward on the right hand side of the body. Okay, and once you get these basics down, you can mix them up. Downward, upward, horizontal, diagonal, diagonal from right to left, and then mix them up. I may start downward, go into horizontal, into upward, into diagonal, and then you can just mix it up. We can also, instead of slashing, we can thrust. Okay, so very common, we can thrust this angle here, thrust the backhand angle here. thrust to the body, thrust back to the body, thrust upward here, thrust upward here, thrust downward to come back up diagonally, thrusting here, thrusting back down. You can mix this up. Every thrust can be followed by a slash. You can thrust, follow with a slash. The thrust might go hit your target, and you may slash to pull out. Your thrust may hit target, slash to pull out. You can thrust low, slashing out again. Thrust low, slashing out again. Or thrust high, slashing either high, or thrust high, slashing low. This side, thrust high, slashing high, thrust high, slashing low. Okay? From here, when I thrust, sometimes you can pull it through, slash back from this side. If I pull it through, slash back from this side. Again, thrusting from forehand side, then slash backhand side. Or I can thrust through with the backhand to slash, thrust, slash, thrust, slash, thrust, slash. Okay, so you can mix all these up. You can mix up the regular slashing motion with the thrusting motion at any time. Thrust, slash, thrust through, slash, thrust, slash. You notice sometimes when I thrust from the forehand side, I slash from the forehand side. I thrust from the backhand side, I come back around to slash from the backhand side. Or sometimes I thrust from the forehand side, slash from the backhand side, meaning thrust through from one side, slash back from the other. Okay, again, thrust and slash from the same side, thrust, slash from the same side, or thrust through, slash from the opposite side. Thrust through, slash from the opposite side. This can also go straight into the body here. Okay, a lot of times this hand will come forward and thrust in, or maybe just quick thrust from the forehand side like that. Sometimes when we thrust from here, we pull it back here so that we can thrust through on this side. This could be one to thrust like that, and maybe I slash out to thrust here, back here again. Or sometimes I thrust through here to come on this side to slash out. Thrust here to come on the forehand side. Or sometimes we thrust to thrust the backhand, come around to thrust to the forehand side, then slash out. And you'll see there's really no magic numbering system with the knife. It is basically built upon either slashing motions, figure 8, or incorporating the thrust with the slash, or thrust to thrust, or thrust to thrust. Okay, to demonstrate the angles of attack on my partner, just so that you can see where the motions are, where we attack the body. The slashing motion can go to the neck here like that, or to the neck. Now you'll notice that this can already be, even though it's a downward motion, I can slash here to the body, or slash to the major arteries here on the legs, or all the way down here to the low position, where a lot of times we'll find ourselves, depending on the terrain. We may not be able to stand at all, maybe mud. So a lot of times we will be down here like this, okay? So this is downward figure 8 motion. Same thing with the upward figure 8. The upward figure 8 can go to the body, or the upward figure 8 can go up top to the neck area or face area, okay? And then again, down low area, slashing the major arteries here, the legs or the hips, okay? The horizontal slashing motion, again, either high line, middle line, or the low line, here like this. either one knee or the other, or just crouching motion like that. Diagonal will send you from the forehand side here and then slash back up. Forehand side, slashing back up. Or from this side, I could slash this way to that way. Again, so I attack the upper portion of the body here to the lower portion of the body. Or this may be from the middle body to the upper body. Middle to upper. Or middle to upper on this side. Okay, and we're just doing this stationary right now. Very often you'll see how this same motion can be applied from the front side of the body to the back side of the body. Okay, but first you have to understand the angles of attack and learn how to be fluid with the knife, okay, so that you're able to slash and thrust effectively, okay. Now, with the thrust can poke from this side, pack, can poke, and maybe sometimes the knife will stick there, and you slash out. So you could poke from here to slash out. You could poke to slash this side, poke this high line, or thrust high to slash low, thrust high to slash low. Maybe you thrust it into the body here, and you want to slash high. Thrust into the body, slash high. Or thrust to slash. Thrust to slash. Again, keeping this hand here. Okay? Now, you can thrust, which may go through, or may go through on the forehand side, to slash back on the backhand side. Again, the thrust goes through to the backhand side, slash. Or you may thrust through on the backhand side, slashing on the forehand side. Thrust through any target area, slash on the forehand side. Okay, so this is your basic target areas, how the slash is used, how the thrust is used, and from here we'll go on to our next segment. Okay, now that we understand some of the different angles of attack that the weapon can come, now we'll start talking about how to defend against those angles of attack. Okay, the first basic that we talk about is meeting the force, or slashing the slash with the slash ourselves. So if he slashes at my target area here, remember, hand-to-hand combat is a matter of fluidity, it's a matter of motion. So we're going to handle this situation first in long range, where we have the range to move back, where my back isn't against the wall. Okay? I have the range to move back. So you constantly want to keep yourself in the range that if he slashes to me, he cannot hit me, but I can slash his arm or his bicep or get a piece of him, or in Filipino martial arts what they call defang the snake. If this is the fang of the snake, we're gonna take that fang, rendering the snake harmless. Okay? So number one, we will meet the number one with the number one. This is very simple, okay? Slashing here. Okay, but from there, he could follow up with any of the patterns that we've talked about. Downward figure eight. This one may come up. This one might come horizontal. This may come down. This one may be followed by the thrust. It doesn't matter. I just want to give you the basic concept, and then you can cultivate it on your own. So from the number one here, okay? However he comes, you slash it here like this. And right now we're doing a stationary motion. If he thrusts, now you notice on the lower counts here, if he thrusts here, any thrust that may come either from the forehand side, the middle, or the backhand side, you slash from the top position, okay? If it's a high thrust to the neck area, you can angle your body out and slash from the lower position. But right now we'll talk about a thrust to the body. Slashing on the top. And you notice if he goes horizontal to my body here, I slash on top. Whereas if he comes up top, I will meet the force with a slash here, like that. Okay? This is stationary training. Okay? And maybe he mixes it up a little bit. Stationary training. Meeting the force. Now, if the person advances towards you, obviously, this is a common situation. He's going to come at you with the thrust. You're going to have to keep this distance if you can. Okay, this will probably afford you with the best protection. okay? Because once you get inside, and now, you know, we're both here, a lot of things happen very fast. So at best, especially if this is just for basic training, which we teach our SEAL team guys, we're going to teach them to evade when it comes in, to back out. And as we back out, or put the step and slide footwork in, we're going to meet the force or slash, or inflict pain on the very first beat. Okay, we're inflicting our offense while we're defending ourselves. So we step back, staying out of the range. Okay, again. So your partner can step and slide forward, and I can step and slide back. This is one method. Again, he is moving towards you, whether that's with a step and slide or whether that's running, and you're going to have to keep the distance. Remember, he can't cut you. You want to be able to cut him, and we're going to keep that distance with our footwork. Okay, same footwork. That's why we start with the boxing in the beginning and the Thai boxing, to bring out that elusiveness, that footwork, okay, that speed, that agility. It's all part of the equation, especially with the knife, okay? Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? And you'll see how that will be applied to any thrust, any slash, any attacking motion. Keeping the distance, meeting the force. Now, say on any slash, we'll take the forehand slash here to the neck. I can meet that with the same angle. Or I can meet it more horizontally, or I can meet it upward. Okay? As long as I'm meeting the force, I may slash it downward, I may slash horizontal, I may slash upward. But in any regards, it is meeting the force. Okay? What we call meet the force. Now, the next thing which will show stationary first is following the force. So maybe for some reason, maybe I slashed at him and my hand's on this side and he slashes at me. I will then slash from the backhand side, or what we refer to as follow the force. Okay, again, my knife is on this side. Follow the force. 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 Again, opposite from the meet, which is meeting the force, we will now follow the force. 1,